the Deputy Governor of Delta State, Honorable Commissioners that are seated here this morning, the Secretary to the State Government. We want to especially welcome you to this conference room. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor. And next to Chief Patrick Uka is the Deputy Chief of Staff, Government House, Engineer Jude Senebe, PhD. I would ask you that.
May I introduce Rear Admiral Atiku Abdul Karim. Interestingly, Your Excellency, we are in a political campaign period, and the security agencies play some vital role in making any election process successful. And so we are privileged to have somebody who served as Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations in Delta State when the 2015 election held. Let me introduce the retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, Zaki Ahmed. Your Excellency, you have one of your own, a legal practitioner of no mean repute, who has been involved in the industry. He is one of you, he is from Delta State, he is Mr. Patrick Okojo. Next to him is Mr. Ali Ubio. Next to him is Mr. Melvin Obiako. Lastly, Your Excellency, I am David Akar. I am Secretary to the panel. Thank you very much.
There was an almost unprecedented level of crude oil theft and loss recorded early last year, which brought crude oil production to below Nigeria's OPEC quota allocation of about 1.8 million barrels per day. As a matter of fact, our production dropped below 900,000 barrels. This, of course, threatened our national economy, and Nigeria faced the prospect of zero allocation for capital projects with respect to 2023 budget. The implications would have been dire, even to state governments. That was why the federal government of Nigeria swiftly reacted and ordered major security operations in the maritime domain and within the oil producing states. This was followed by some measures by major industry players to curb the menace of crude oil theft and vandalization of oil installations and facilities. We have seen significant improvement, especially with the introduction of Tantita Security Company, domiciled here in Delta State. However, I'm sure we are all aware that these interventions are temporary measures. First, the need for our panel, which it is hoped will prefer a more permanent solution to address the menace of pipeline vandalization and crude oil theft. Your Excellency, oil theft and pipeline vandalization may not be a recent phenomenon. As a matter of fact, numerous efforts have been made in the past. Committees were set up at the level of the National Economic Council, but all of these did not produce the desired results due to the non-implementation of the recommendations of these committees. Our panel is yet another of such endeavors, and Nigerians are already adopting a dismissive posture because they seem to lack faith in its outcome due to previous recommendations that were never implemented. But Your Excellency, we are here today and we want to assure you that we are determined as a panel to make this effort count. And with consultations with prominent leaders, political leaders and industry players, as well as a wide engagement with other stakeholders, we believe would facilitate the panel's work of setting the stage to reverse the trend and eliminate oil thefts and vandalization of pipeline and all its ramifications. The focus of this panel, therefore, is to investigate, identify perpetrators, and propose solutions. And this has made it imperative for the panel to visit sites and platforms to gather evidence that will prove useful in advancing arguments and articulating incontrovertible recommendations. As a major oil producer, the panel considers Delta State an important partner if we are to achieve the high expectations of Nigerians in this regard, to quickly protect the investment of oil companies, insulate our oil-producing communities from environmental and health hazards, protect the thousands of direct and indirect jobs, and as well as consolidate on the ongoing security operations. Perhaps it is pertinent to mention here that the focus of the panel is not individuals, but how to bring about improvements to the fortunes of the federal, states, and local governments, host communities, the environment, oil companies, future prospects, and ensuring the future prospects of our youth population. Your Excellency, there is an important implication of oil thefts, which is not always highlighted, and that is how the production affects the revenue accruing to states via the 30% derivation principle. And also, this impacts on the implementation of a host community development trust fund, as logically zero production will result in zero allocation. Your Excellency, we therefore need your support. We are confident that your perspective will certainly translate to a successful outcome of the onerous task of our panel. We therefore crave your indulgence to provide this panel with your perspective on the oil theft phenomenon, to assist us in carrying out our assignments. We shall be looking to your possible perspectives on the positive factors, international dimensions if there are any, and the adequacy of the security infrastructure, regulatory, institutional policies, or legal frameworks, and the impact of oil theft and pipeline vandalization on businesses and communities in Delta State. Your Excellency, thank you very much.
To stand in the stead of His Excellency Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, our dear Governor of Delta State, who is unavoidably out of this courtesy call, because he was originally meant to take you on this courtesy because of very competing engagements, as you are very much aware. Even the electionary times you did mention of. It's not available to take you in person on this courtesy. However, like I said, I'm thankful that I'm here standing in his stead. Having said that, I want to welcome you to Delta State. I'm sure you have had a rewarding stay, just the one night of course you stayed there at Asaba. First, we want to thank God for this panel, this special investigative panel on crude oil theft. can't afford to thank the Lord enough because, as you are aware, without prejudice to national efforts in diversifying our economy away from crude oil and gas to sorry. Yeah, Mr. Sherman. Mr. Sherman and the members of the panel, as I was saying, without prejudice to our national efforts in diversifying our economy from crude oil and gas to other productive sectors like entrepreneurship, agriculture, to mention but a few, we want to say that not much has been achieved in that diversification effort. And that brings us to the truth that our economy majorly is pivoted on crude oil and gas. And as you also agree, our national budget almost always is pivoted on receipts from crude oil and gas, receipts from taxes, and of course from external and internal borrowings. So whenever we have a shock in the crude oil and gas industry, you can imagine what, of course, it means, not only to the national economy as well as to the sub-national governments and downward. So having a panel such as this, a special investigative panel to help unravel the positive effects and the causes of all of these oil theft, it's just the right thing in the right direction for a very serious government to do. Incidentally, as you have alluded to, there have been other panels and teams, committees that of course had embarked on identical assignment like these, whose reports we are yet to see. But we are believing, perhaps for the very last time, that having your humble self and the caliber of lesson assisting you on this investigative panel, the national government that have thought it wise to put it together would just do justice to the reports that were made from this investigative panel, because this is just the right thing to do. So we are very grateful as a state, and we are very much prepared to give you the best of assistance and encouragement as we can. Beyond these immediate engagement, we may not hesitate to quickly furnishing you some formal written details of what we think can aid you also in your work, if that will also suffice beyond this engagement. Our team will send you a formal memo that has sketchy it is, lighting on some possible things you need to also see that will possibly have escaped us here in this engagement process. So what we thank you, want to appreciate you for coming to Delta. But very quickly, as you are aware, Delta State is a major oil producing state. At some points we rank #1 in the country, at some point we rank #2, depending on the same theft and destruction of our assets. So when the Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa government came on board in 2015 with our laudable objectives of what we intend to do for and on behalf of our people, and also knowing that all of these laudable talks, programs, policies we wish to achieve would be a child's play or would be just wishes. We thought it wise to put in place some institutional structures that will truly help us in ensuring that our oil and gas assets are secured and there is a seamless production of crude oil and gas in the state. So what we first did was to put in place institutional structures that would, advocate against the destruction of oil and gas assets. That was critical. So we had several institutional structures like that. We have the Delta State Orientation Bureau. We have the Delta State Waterways and Land Security Committee, specifically assigned the responsibility to ensure that commerce and industry is free in the rural area and oil theft is also prevented. We have the Delta State Advisory and Peace Building Council. We have what we also call the Delta State Committee Against Oil Asset Destruction. Incidentally, I chairman that particular committee. And we have such other committees, special advisors on conflict resolution and peace building. We have to put all of these structures in place with a view to deepening any form of deepening engagement against any form of agitation or crisis that usually leads to destruction of these assets, other than the pilfering of the product, the theft of the product in different measures. That I mean, from the artisanal measure, from the very big kind of theft you see lately. So we have all of these structures, and the idea is to ensuring that we advocate and engage profoundly with our people, because these assets are within the domain of our people. And if we are able to have a synergy and a partnership with them, we thought it wise that would, of course, help to reduce all of these incidences, and that we did. And suffice it to say that we've had an amazing result therefrom. You recall that in 2016 or so, we had a lot of shortages in the Niger Delta, specifically in Delta State. You know, our name Delta is even so synonymous with Niger Delta, such that you're able to arrest a lot of things in this state, like it has a particular effect on other states also in the Niger Delta. Recall that the country was in recessionary times, and that was as a result of two major factors we always say. One, the dip in the prices of crude oil in the international market, you recall, and also the successive breaches of our critical oil and gas facilities, and as such, we could not get our outputs. That made it very difficult for us, and both for the national government and the national government. I wouldn't forget in the hurry how that it was even very challenging paying salaries. Having to stagger paying the salaries just to go forward in government and governance there. And then recall also how that the this pipeline of about 200 was breached in a strategic position below the Atlantics. We will, till tomorrow, some of us keep imagining how that was achieved, because I am some of the shared petroleum development security bosses had an aerial inspection of that destruction, and what we saw was that the pipe was breached at a point below the bed of Atlantis. And that tells you how daring whoever carried out that stuff. Unconfirmed investigation had it that they had to use special divers to all of their equipment down into the bed of Atlantis. Of course, highly explosive and thought that particular facility broke. And that facility was critical because it is a delivery pipeline that delivers, first collates crude oil from the different oil prospecting companies, from Shell, from IG, from the marginal stuff. They all pump straight into that pipeline, their own quota, and that pipe takes it straight to the offshore delivery point. So when it was broken at that point, it makes no sense you produce it when you don't have your outlet. It doesn't make any sense producing it when you don't have your outlet. So production was stopped. And because of how it was broken, it took the Nigerian states quite a long time in effecting this. It took them almost about 9-10 months in getting the experts to effecting that repairs. So all of that long period, you can imagine what the receipts, the derivation, and all of that have been for us as a state. So we are mindful and very concerned. All of these brought to the fore while we had to put these structures in place to ensure that we are proactive in engaging our people, ensuring that we have a relatively decent atmosphere, a relatively free and secure and safe atmosphere for oil and gas operations. So that is how it has been in Delta State, and like I said, we're having some quite reasonable results of security and peace thereon. Then, going further on, then the subject of the theft, as you may know, as you may have been aware, the theft is in different forms. The theft is in different forms. You know, the Warri refinery is down for quite some time. And crude oil majorly is not pumped into the refinery for refining purposes. It's taken through these pipelines to the export terminals. And these pipes almost always are being breached by locals, and by locals on an artisanal level, and sometimes they are also breached by those who want to say that are experts that are really big in the deal, and they connect their pipes from these major delivery lines illegally to God knows where, and load off. This, of course, has been the major challenge. And again, some of the marginal oil fields also have challenges of connecting their products to the delivery lines, just because maybe some of them have been breached, and they now opted to use vessels in transporting the product from the flow stations to their mother vessels and all of that. And what does happen from what we know, what we hear, that the numbers are always being manipulated. Just for example, you imagine a field, the operator of imaginary field, and maybe the pipe with which you earlier had been transporting your product from that field to the delivery line is broken, and you possibly don't have the confidence that the restoration of that line would no longer be broken. Then you now opt to that transport this crude through vessels to the delivery point. And many times when these vessels are loaded, the numbers that are reported are almost always not what they ought to report. So that's another bigger fault. So and all of these, like want to say is done with the collaboration of insiders. By insiders, we talk about the NMBC team, the joint team, GIB team, or the partnership team, by that I mean, and of course the security agencies who also are part of this team. So it's done in collaboration with all of the critical stakeholders. I think that's what is happening. That's what is happening, and this one say is quite unfortunate because if as a country we are in one economy, the reasoning is that we need to put all our heads together to protect in that particular economy. In this case, that's not what we're having. That are quite disturbing. To think very strongly that this panel will avail the national government all that they need to know, which we think that they may have known, that they also will see the light of the day and put a complete end to all of these menaces that are threatening our economy. So this is what we have to say for the now. And we want to say that what was done lately is one stopgap arrangement that is truly worthwhile. By that I mean the contracting of the security of oil and gas assets to some locals who of course are over attention capacity. It's one of the short way to, because like I earlier said, these facilities are domiciled in the domains of people, and they understand the environment, they understand the complexities of the environment, they understand the networks of the pipeline, over and over any other person outside that domain. When you have such people that have capacity and trust the safety and security of these pipelines to them, and of course, just in a very major way, put to forestall these phenomena of theft of crude oil and gas. Incidentally, I am from the riverine area, from an oil producing area, so I truly understand all that does the riverine in relation to oil and gas. So I think it is worth praising the government, irrespective of criticisms that have had from various quarters of getting their nationals involved in security protection and surveillance of these pipelines. And of course, alongside with the security agencies, that's certainly just the right thing to do. I was gladly reading the papers of few weeks ago how that we had, as a nation, some form of increase in output in the sea. That I think that is resultant upon the engagement of certain persons like Tantita that just really have capacity to deal with these matters. So it is our thinking that this same will be replicated in many other places, and that in itself is going to forestall the menace of crude oil theft. And as you are very much aware, the side effects of the theft has been enormous in terms of the escalation of the environment, where the people can't return to their normal source of livelihood, which of course is fishing and farming. You see shades of oil everywhere and all that. Very messy. But given these new arrangement where those who have capacity are coming can strike a comparison, from a few months back and what we have now. And there seems to be some normalcy returning to the environment. Because for us, who of course are from the riverine, who are from the riverine and love the riverine, and would ordinarily want to spend time even in the riverine, we aren't very comfortable going with friends to spend the weekend at the riverine. The suit and the messy nation environment such that you're able to take your friends in there. Now, there's some sanity there. The waters are getting cleaner, shades of that's getting cleaner, and can have some release of life there. So, these are some of our immediate thoughts we want to throw to you, and start thinking that they add some value to what this investigative panel is meant to achieve. And we hope also, like our Peter to say, that we will send you some additional information to write it through the office of the Honorable Commissioner of Oil and Gas, the Honorable Commissioner of Parliament, that we have something to what you do. We are thankful, grateful to God that the government considered it fit and proper to put in place this investigative panel. It is our hope that the outcome of this panel will be taken seriously and is going to put lasting solution to the menace of royal theft in this country. Again, we thank and appreciate you and wish you a very rewarding stay in Asaba. God bless you.